Josh, what is your you just say you don't have anything against wrestling, but what is it about wrestling that disconnects you?
I didn't grow up on it, which is a shame. I feel like anybody who loves wrestling grew up on it.
That's very true.
I don't know many people who are adults saying, you know what I'm really going to get into now? Wrestling. I didn't grow up on it, which is kind of amazing because my dad was really close friends with Macho Man Randy Savage.
Really?
I didn't know.
You've never told me this.
What? Okay, so I'll tell this story.
Hold on. This is amazing content.
Just now dropping this?
I've known you for 6, 7 years, and you've never told me
Well,
this.
let me tell you the story. I was going through family photo books, and I flipped one page that had my dad standing there with Macho Man Randy Savage
and a Slim Jim
and Miss Elizabeth in our foyer. And I'm like, Dad, is this a cardboard cutout or is this Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth? He's like, yeah, that's them. That's Randy. I'm like, Dad, explain. And what he told me was he used to work for Piedmont Airlines, back when that was an airline, in Baltimore back in the 80s. And, you know, wrestlers made friends with people that worked at the airline so that they can be picked up right at the plane and go elsewhere. And he got to know Randy, and Randy would take him to all of the shows. Like, my dad was at Wrestlemania III, sitting in the front row. And
what? Wait a second.
So he was there for
for
Savage Steamboat?
That's right.
Wait a second.
There was a situation where my dad showed me a video one time of Rowdy Roddy Piper. I forget who the wrestler was that had the garden, a garden set up or something, and he just took a baseball bat to it on one WrestleMania, and he's like, yeah, that was my baseball bat. I'm like, really? That was your baseball bat? He's like, yeah, Eddy Murray gave me that baseball bat to give to Macho Man, and Rowdy Roddy Piper just saw it sitting there, and he smashed it on TV. I'm like, Dad, these are amazing stories that you're telling me here.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
We need to interview your dad.
Yeah.
Should we call him up? No.
I want to get your dad.
He actually asked me today, hey, you got any time? I might call up the show today.
Yeah.
Might just call up the show. No, but
Cancel everything.
But I didn't know whether or not this was my dad over-exaggerating it all until I, a few years ago, was talking to Leaping Lanny Poffo on the air, talking about WrestleMania one time. And at the end of the interview, Lanny was like, I just want to say one thing that to make your audience clear on something. Your dad did something not a lot of people ever did. He befriended the Macho Man. Apparently Macho Man, because Lanny Poffo is Randy's brother, was pretty closed off. Didn't have a lot of people that were close to him. My dad was apparently one of those people in the 80s.
Yo.
This segment took a turn, didn't it? So I don't dislike wrestling.
Oh my, he totally disarmed us.
Yeah.
He's texting me right now. Yeah, it was Adrian Adonis's flower shop. He texted me that Rowdy Roddy Piper crushed. And it was Eddy Murray's bat. You can find the video on YouTube. That was my dad's bat that Eddy Murray told him to give to Macho Man.
I don't know what to say right now. I really don't know what to say. Your dad is a legend.
I didn't know.
Your dad is a legend.
See,
Mr. Graham is a legend.
Well, he's listening to this right now. Like I said,
hello, legend. Thank you for listening.
I walked up to his house this morning, and he was listening to this station in his bed. He hadn't got out of bed, so he loves this station. He's listening right now.
I think my time here is done. You wanted me to be here for 30 minutes. I think.
But he was as nonchalant as I'm telling you this, was as nonchalant as I learned it. Like, my dad had, he wasn't supposed to tell anybody when Macho Man would stay at his house, but he had a buddy that was a huge wrestling fan, and he said, he called him up. He lived 45 minutes away. He goes, his name was Chuck. Chuck, you're going to want to come over to my house right now, and I can't tell you why. Scott, I live 45 minutes away. You're going to want to come over to my house. So he goes over to his house, and this is the way Chuck described it to me. Door opens, it's Miss Elizabeth. Hey, you must be Chuck. And at first he's thinking, I think that looks like Miss Elizabeth, but this is Scott's house. So then he walks up the stairs, describes my dad as having a, man, how do you like me now type of smirk. And then right behind his ear saying, oh yeah, you must be Chuck. And it's the bleeping Macho Man. How would you react if I did that to you, Chris Lee?
I think I would wet myself. I just hope that I'm not wearing khaki or gray pants at the time. Because, oh my God. Like to hear like this is legendary, and that's one of the things what you mentioned earlier. Macho Man didn't make a lot of friends.
No.
So the fact that your dad, this guy that I'm sitting across from, that I've known all this time, you've known that I've been a pro wrestler before.
Yeah, you have.
Your former producer used to be one of my referees.
Yeah.
And this story has never come up until now. It's crazy.
And it's on air.
And my mind is blown, and I'm usually not speechless, but my God, I'm speechless right now.
Wow, did this segment turn around? You thought that I'd be some wrestling-hating buffoon, but no. I appreciate wrestling, and I just so happen to appreciate The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. You like what you like.
All this happened in Maryland and not in North Carolina?
In Maryland.
Okay. Because if it happened in North Carolina, I was going to say me and Dennis have some Culture State interviews to book right now with your dad.
Yeah.
Because like there's some stories that we got to hear.
He lives 30 minutes away from here. He's available.
But I'm going to want to know if they went out to a bar in Raleigh, though. That's the main thing. Like, so if that's ever happened, Mr. Graham, if you've ever been to a bar in Raleigh, North Carolina with the Macho Man Randy Savage, please,
hear this.
We've got to interview you for our podcast.
So my dad's a legend.